All right, so we're being challenged every day with what now? What is the most important thing to you? Panic attacks, grief, loss, sadness. So much the collective is feeling and purging as we let go of the old. And Spirit keeps telling me that, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. It doesn't matter what everyone else is saying. We are birthing our new reality individually. And there's so much coming up now for us to re-examine. Well, who are you now? What do you believe about this now? And I just kind of flashed on, well, Spirit, I don't want this and this and this on my plate anymore. Like, how do I get this off of my back? How do I get this from being at me and at me? And Spirit's like, well, just identify your belief on the matter. Like, do I believe that other people have power over me? Well, I don't want to believe that. But I know that I have a belief that some things do have a power over me. Like, I still have a belief that corrupt judges or corrupt cops or the system itself has some sort of power over me. And I want to be confident and say that I don't believe that, but clearly I do, because the thought of their power over me sometimes gives me a panic attack. And the stress of just how much power corruption has over people's lives that are just good people. Never had any criminal charges, never did anything at all that was low vibe or negative to any of the parties, and certainly not unconstitutional or unlawful in any way. Yet the system punishes me, punishes you. And that kind of corruption goes to the wound of the abused child that couldn't say no, that had an authority figure that was, molesting them, abusing them, and the more they told the truth, the worse it got for them. And that's what the courts represent to me, especially here in Jefferson County, Washington, and maybe where you're at. But the collective now is being asked to really identify what is true for you. And individually, we're going through something. Like, I'm surprised at what I'm going through right now, because I kind of thought that I dealt with this stuff. I thought that I was, I'd let go of some of these triggers and traumas, and Spirit's telling me, well, this is a deeper level of it, right? And there's always a deeper level. And last night, Spirit was telling me, we're going to keep integrating, and we're going to keep raising our vibration and moving to another level. And that's forever. So you might as well just enjoy the moment, which is easy to say for people who don't have a constant background of stress, right? This constant knot that I have in my solar plexus of pending doom and pending fear is, I can't imagine a life without it. I think I felt it now and then. In the last few months, I felt it once or twice. That peaceful moment where there's not just constant thoughts or constant stress. And my body holds these constant knots and pending doom. And there's always going to be someone that's going to reach in and test you for the devil, like the devil card in tarot. It's a test point. It's a portal. It's like, well, what do you want now? What do you believe now? And I really want to believe that corrupt, evil, lying people don't have any power over me. And I really want to believe that, I do believe that I can conjure up a reality that is of my highest and best. And I believe that to a certain level of survival, and a little bit maybe past that onto, some gravy on top of survival. Like, you got your meal and you got dessert too. But I don't 100% believe that I can conjure up with positive thoughts and positive, all these different energies, other things, like bigger things. Like when I do my healing work with people, I'm like, well, do you believe that you could find a $100 bill today? And they're like, yeah, I could find a $100 bill. I'm like, well, do you believe you could find a briefcase with $1 million in it? And they're like, no, right? So it's belief, right? And everywhere in between that. If I don't fully believe that I can manifest the life I really, really want, then I'm not ready yet to manifest it. And but this background stress and this, where you're sitting there and you go, okay, well, anybody from the public can just reach in. They can write a letter to a judge and say, well, you got 6 heads. And the judge is like, yep, you got 6 heads. And then you're in trouble for having 6 heads, and you never had 6 heads. It really triggers that childhood trauma and that core wound of, molestation and, and of seeing cousins, people around me be abused, and trying to tell the truth and being punished for telling the truth when the lie prevails. So at any moment, your abuser, whoever that is in your life, can say something, and, a cop goes, okay, yeah, they call it code blue. I've written about that so much over decades. The negative people that lie about you, get 2 or 3 of them, and they're like, yep, she did it. And the cops and the courts, and they don't need any proof, that just that person's word, because the courts don't like you as well, because you're a truth teller. And so we're moving out of that system. However, we're getting choice points of going, well, okay, do you believe that your life is affected at any given moment by someone else's whims? And well, like I said, I want to believe it isn't affected, but I still got a little tippy toe in the matrix of where it does affect my life, and it does affect my stress level, and it does affect my panic attacks. And one of my core wound of, I'm telling the truth, 100% truth, with a whole bunch of evidence and facts of the truth. And my parents, my aunt and uncle, the courts, the cops, whoever, are saying, well, nope, you're not telling the truth, and we believe your abuser, who has no evidence at all, even though I have all the evidence. And we're just going to believe their stated word because we like them better, and they want to perpetuate that dark system or that corrupt system. And it just keeps us in this constant stress, right? And I have this background PTSD, this background stress, regardless of what's going on. So, it's just, if someone reaches in and says, oh, hey, there's this, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, I guess I have that stress all the time anyway. But one of the things in my PTSD that is a huge, just over-the-top trigger is an appointment. So when I have to be somewhere at a certain time, I panic. And when I did have businesses and stuff, it's flexible. Like, I'd go into my real estate company for on and off for 20 years, and I go in when I want, and I leave when I want, and I was the boss, right? So, but to have like a regular job or an authority figure of any kind, I just panicked. And so I had it under control, like I was like, okay, I can relax here and there, I can this, I can. And then I had something happen in 2022, which you probably all know of, where we were attacked by 400 people. And it triggered another level of my PTSD that I haven't snapped back from. It's like after that, I was diagnosed with some pretty severe anxiety and PTSD and some other mental health conditions that came from that, and that also surfaced stuff that I've had in the background. And so you all are going to be being tested to what do we want this next level. And I'm not sure how to deal with all of it. I've prayed for an answer, and but I spend, a lot of time in thought of how to deal with this, right? And Spirit just keeps saying, well, just keep identifying what you believe. And the thing is that I want to believe something different than what I do believe. So, we're all being challenged to that. And, I'll do the next video here on more global stuff. I guess this ended up being about my personal stuff, but I have a lot of grief right now, and I have a lot coming up for my entire life just to be revisited. And I'm like, whoa, Spirit, what's the deal? It's like, well, the old's leaving. So you feel sad, you feel forlorn, you feel grief because the old's leaving, and it's a void. So it's almost like an Armageddon feeling, because we're not going to have Armageddon, and it's like everybody's gone, even though there are people all around me. It's this void feeling inside where you can't necessarily tune into your spirit guides. You can't, you don't remember things the way that you used to. Your operating system's changed. You're not feeling your connection to God and to Source, and then that will all come back online. But I'm going through something now where it just keeps getting prolonged. I don't understand it. I make the choices that I feel are of my highest and best, and then the resulting action is like, okay, well, so I made this choice, and that created this. So I make this choice, and that creates that. Each choice being, is this my truth? Am I speaking my truth? How can I speak my truth more? How can I be an advocate for myself more? How can I get more support for what I'm going through in the matrix, at the same time being out of the matrix? And so we're all having those challenges and choice points right now. And mine is rooted in fight or flight. This constant background fear of being attacked, being yelled at, of corruption. So I told you about my childhood stuff. Well, in the courts for the last 30 years, fighting corruption, same thing. Every single time I take in all the facts, all the proof, never lied in court. And every time they ruled against the abuser, they ruled against the criminal, they ruled in favor of the criminals, they ruled in favor of the corrupt, they ruled against the victim, they ruled against me telling the truth. And so I have no belief at all in the courts being there to enact law or justice. And so it does trigger me. It triggers my childhood wounds. It triggers my panic attacks, because it's not honest and it's not fair. And it's you can't walk in and go, oh my gosh, I totally I'm glad I'm in a court of law, and I know they're going to look at the facts, and I know they're going to protect my constitutional rights. No, they've always been against me, and I've never had any criminal charges. I never had a DUI. I never had a drug problem. I've never ever been the bad guy, and the courts have always ruled that I'm the bad guy because I exposed the bad guy, and so it causes severe PTSD, and now more than ever, because people won't let up on me. And so I just have a continual array of panic attacks over it. So those are my choice points right now. The next video, I'm going to talk about the more the collective than me personally. Spirit's just telling me to just I'll do a reading on it later. What Spirit's saying, that I'm like a just a meter. This is a test for me. This is bringing all this up, and I don't have to make a decision on it. I can just feel it. Just keep feeling it, and keep feeling it, and keep feeling it. And I'm really feeling it. I guess I'll leave this video there. So I have to sign some papers here or something. Okay, bye.